Good afternoon, classmate peers.
Good afternoon, Rebecca. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you. Good afternoon. Um, which things did you wrote in the chart of the activity?
In my case, I put information based on the links that the teacher gave us, which are mainly focused on the socio-cultural tourism and into the economic impact.
Mm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I would like to share what did I wrote in the chart of positive or social-cultural impacts of tourism. Okay, the thing is that the preservation of the local culture and heritage happens because the tourists often visit their important places. Also, the money gained helps to preserve the heritage well with the infrastructure and giving better facilities like education to the local community. So what do you put it?
I put information about the social-cultural impacts and the economic impacts. And the social-cultural positive impacts for me are the more interesting because there's information that I have no idea. And in the negative impacts, it will also are information.
Yeah, a little bit of the same. I put in my table some of the positive and negative impacts of every type of social, cultural, and economic situation. And I think the one that called my attention into um, the work is that some of the positive things is that the social, cultural tourism promotes the preservation of the culture and history of the tourist places, and it also ensures that feeling of pride into the local or national place that you are, meaning that you can involve communities to have a better value of the resources that they have.
Yeah, the most part of the information that I put in that category is pretty similar because, well, it's how to say it, it's kind of obvious. Because also I put in the table that, well, a negative impact in the category of social cultural impacts of tourism is that the community lost their authenticity. I mean that often they have to change to adjust to the tourist vision because most of them doesn't feel comfortable or satisfied with.
Yes, same. I think just with this work, we can realize that tourism, we can consider the tourism like a double-edged sword that it can bring positive impacts, but also it can affect us as well.
And okay, now going to the economic impact, what did you put?
I found in the positive impacts the foreign exchange earnings that are used to improve the destination and also improve the infrastructure of the destination, and obviously that has a positive impact also in the social-cultural because that improves the lifestyle of the people, of the local people.
In my case, what you say about the infrastructure, I think is very interesting. But well, when I was looking for the information in the pages, I saw that in the economic side, they tend to use the money that they earn from the tourism to build more infrastructures. But this is kind of weird because people say, well, in a page that I saw, is that it kind of helps them because with the money they build more infrastructure. We tend to see that having more infrastructure could be beneficial, but it's only beneficial for a certain type of public. In this case, the tourism. So it's like something positive because sometimes um, infrastructure, I don't know, it could be the streets, but I don't think they work in all the streets. So it's just really interesting how that investment of money can be positive, but at the same time kind of negative because it does not help everybody.
Yeah, and also an interesting thing that I found is the in the negative side. I found the leakage effect, something like that. That is an effect when the money that the tourism that earn the tourism does not keep in the destination. Instead of that, the money goes to another country or another destination because the the industries or the companies are from another countries. And an example of that is here in Cancun. There's a lot of hotels that are like that their bosses are Spanish or in UK, and that's something negative for Cancun.
Exactly. And do you guys can you mention like examples of, I don't know, maybe positive or negative impacts in Cancun based on these topics?
Well, I have a pretty near example that is from my dad, who is a waiter in a restaurant. Okay, here the impact goes into the social cultural category because, well, let's say that it enters in both categories because the thing is that it happens cultural clash. I think that it was the name. And okay, why do this happen? Because okay, as I said, my dad is a waiter in a restaurant. Okay, and his salary becomes from the tips that he receives. Here is a problem that he often receives Asian customers, let's say, and in Asia, people doesn't give any tip. So they think that they doesn't have to give any tip here in Mexico because it's their culture. They doesn't know. But my dad doesn't receive any money because their culture. So this happens really often, not only to my dad. I think that it happens with a lot of people who work here. And okay, cultural shocks often happen.
Yeah, I think an example in these impacts in Cancun, the first thing that comes to my mind is Tulum. I don't know why. I think it's Tulum is such a competitive place or a space inside this tourism industry because it has natural and cultural potential. And not also that, I think Tulum offers, sun and sea, which are really attractive elements for any type of traveler. It also has some archaeological zones, which favors the practice of alternative type of tourism. I don't know, for example, the cultural tourism and adventure tourism. And just with the things that we talk, I think Tulum has some of these same topics. I think they have some negative impacts in tourism. We can detect some of them and some positive one. I think some positive one that I've seen an example in Tulum. It's like people around the world come to Tulum to share their cultures and sort of at this sort of point they generate cultural changes. So it's really interesting to see that way how Tulum really has some of these points that we have been talking. So what do you think about it? And you guys, I don't want to be rude or something, but I kind of have to go. It was really interesting to talk to you about the homework and sharing the things that we learned. I really had a great time. So I think it's time to go. So
Yeah.
to see you guys. It was great.
Bye.
Bye.